Spain's fighter jet program, a legacy of broken promises. In the world of military aviation, the skies are filled with ambition. Sleek renderings, confident defense ministers, memorandums of understanding signed with solemn handshakes, each one a promise of what's to come. And yet, for Spain, those promises often end up grounded. Spain's fighter jet ambitions have long been caught between budgetary constraints, shifting alliances, and a tendency to join too late or bet on the wrong horse. From co-developing European warplanes to planning next-gen systems, Spain has often played the part of the underfunded partner with big dreams. Today, Spain flies a modest force of fighter jets that includes the aging FA-18 Hornets, a growing fleet of Eurofighter Typhoons, and vague aspirations toward the sixth-generation Future Combat Air System, or FCAS. But the road to that future has been paved with delays, missed deadlines, canceled purchases, and painful lessons. This is the story of Spain's fighter jet program, a saga of ambition throttled by bureaucracy, geopolitics, and the eternal dilemma of trying to do more with less. Let's start with Spain's current fighter inventory. As of 2024, the Spanish Air and Space Force operates roughly 70 EF-18 Hornets, which were acquired in the mid-1980s. Originally a US Navy design, the EF-18s were modified for Spain and have since been the backbone of their air defense. However, many of these aircraft are well past their service life. In recent years, several crashes and maintenance issues have highlighted the strain on this aging fleet. While some airframes have received avionics upgrades, the reality is that Spain is flying fighters that are nearing 40 years old. To supplement this, Spain has purchased about 70 Eurofighter Typhoons as part of the broader European program. These jets are more modern, but not without issues. Many of Spain's Typhoons are early tranche variants, lacking multi-role capability. That means they're optimized for air-to-air combat, but less effective in ground strike roles, a significant limitation in today's multi-role mission environment. This brings us to the Halcon program. Launched in 2022, Halcon is Spain's plan to modernize its fighter fleet by acquiring 20 new Eurofighter Typhoons to replace a portion of its Hornets stationed in the Canary Islands. These are newer Tranche 4 models, featuring AESA radar, improved avionics, and expanded multi-role capabilities. The cost? An estimated €2 billion. And yet, even with this purchase, Spain will still fall short of its original ambitions. The Halcon order replaces only a portion of the aging Hornet fleet. The rest remain in service, with growing concerns about sustainability. That's because the full-scale replacement, Spain's ultimate vision, is pinned on the Future Combat Air System, or FCAS. FCAS is a sixth-generation stealth fighter program co-led by France, Germany, and Spain. It's designed to replace the Rafale, Eurofighter, and other legacy aircraft by the 2040s. The system includes not just a new fighter jet, but a web of networked drones, satellites, and AI-enabled command systems. Sounds exciting, right? The problem is, Spain joined FCAS late and with little leverage. Originally, the program was dominated by Dassault and Airbus. Spain pushed hard to secure a full partner status, which it finally achieved, on paper, in 2020. In reality, Spain has struggled to make its voice heard. Much of the early design work has been driven by French and German priorities. Spain's domestic defense industry, while competent, lacks the clout and scale of Dassault or Airbus Germany. This tension has already caused delays. Disagreements over industrial workshare, intellectual property rights, and the integration of Spanish firm Indra into the program led to multiple freeze points. One major standoff in 2021 nearly derailed the entire partnership. Spain has committed about €2.5 billion to FCAS through 2030. But the timeline for a flyable demonstrator has already slipped from 2025 to 2027, and analysts warn it could be pushed even further. If FCAS delivers on its promises, Spain could finally have access to a top-tier stealth platform and become a serious player in next-gen air power. But that's a big if. In the meantime, Spain is caught in a tactical limbo, upgrading old Hornets, buying stopgap Typhoons, and investing in a future jet that may never arrive on time. Let's pause for a moment and look back. This isn't Spain's first brush with fighter jet frustration. Back in the 1970s, Spain attempted to develop a domestic light fighter called the Casa C-101, which was primarily a trainer but envisioned as a dual-role aircraft. It never became a true fighter. Later, in the 1980s, Spain considered joining the US F-16 program but opted for the F/A-18 instead, a costly decision that tied it closely to US supply chains. In the 1990s, Spain joined the Eurofighter program, a promising initiative on paper. But the drawn-out development timeline, cost overruns, and performance trade-offs turned what was supposed to be a unifying European fighter into a patchwork of national variations. Spain's Typhoons today still lack some of the multi-role capabilities seen in British and German versions. That's not just a software issue, it's a procurement issue. Spain chose to buy cheaper variants to save costs, kicking capability upgrades down the road. In 2023, a Spanish parliamentary report found that defense procurement delays had increased by 30% since 2015. The Air Force, in particular, was flagged for strategic stagnation, with a growing gap between operational needs and political funding. And then there's NATO. Spain has repeatedly fallen short of the alliance's 2% GDP defense spending target. In 2022, Spain spent just 1.01% of GDP on defense, one of the lowest in the alliance. While increases are projected, progress has been slow. This underinvestment limits procurement flexibility, delays maintenance cycles, and forces the military to make do with aging equipment. Meanwhile, adversaries are modernizing. Russia is flying Su-35s and developing the Su-57. China has the J-20. Even regional players like Turkey are advancing indigenous fighter programs like the Khan. Spain, in contrast, is still managing fleets developed during the Cold War. And that raises a question. What happens if FCAS falls apart? The US F-35 is already a staple across Europe. Countries like Poland, Belgium, Norway, and Finland have embraced the jet. Spain, notably, has not. Officially, Spain says it's focused on Eurofighter and FCAS. But reports have surfaced of quiet discussions about acquiring a small batch of F-35Bs for its Navy's Juan Carlos I carrier, which currently operates Harriers. The Harriers are aging fast. By 2030, they'll be obsolete. If Spain doesn't buy the F-38B, it risks losing fixed-wing naval aviation entirely. That would be a massive capability gap for a country that wants to project maritime power in the Mediterranean. But buying the F-35 would be a political earthquake. It would signal a loss of faith in FCAS and deepen resilience on US technology. France would not be happy. Germany might follow suit. The entire European defense initiative could be destabilized. So Spain hesitates. It waits. And while it waits, its Hornets age, its Typhoons stretch their roles, and its Navy prepares for a future that may or may not include jets. There is one bright spot. Spain's aerospace industry remains highly capable. Airbus Spain is heavily involved in aircraft design and manufacturing. Spanish firms produce key components for the Eurofighter, an A400M military transport, and even parts of the F-35 through subcontractors. And Spain's participation in the FCAS program, despite the drama, gives it a seat at the table. If FCAS succeeds, Spain could gain long-term access to 6th-gen fighter technology, autonomous systems, and next-gen sensor fusion. But even that success would be partial if Spain doesn't fix its procurement process. Modern air forces require long-term planning, consistent funding, and rapid adaptation to evolving threats. Spain has struggled on all three counts. Defense budgets have been politically volatile. Procurement timelines are plagued by bureaucracy. And the country has yet to clearly define its strategic role in the European theater. Should Spain aim to lead regional air defense in Southern Europe? Should it prioritize naval aviation? Should it double down on Eurofighter or hedge with the F-35? These are strategic questions still waiting for strategic answers. So where does this leave us? Spain's fighter jet program is a story of potential undermined by delay, of capability overshadowed by compromise, of plans made but not fulfilled. The EF-18s are aging out. The Typhoons are under-equipped. FCAS is over the horizon, and the F-35 remains the elephant in the hangar. Spain is not out of the fight, but it's not fully in it either. It has world-class pilots, a solid industrial base, and a geographic position that matters. What it lacks is cohesion, a clear path forward, a procurement process that can turn ambition into airframes. In a world that's rearming, standing still is a form of retreat. Spain has a choice: stay the course with all its risks and delays, or make a bold move, buy the F-35, upgrade the Typhoons, revamp the Navy, and push FCAS toward relevance. The next 5 years will define Spain's air power for the next 30. The question is, will Spain finally deliver on its promises? Or will its fighter jet legacy remain grounded by everything that was supposed to lift it into the future? Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, drop a comment. Should Spain double down on FCAS or hedge with the F-35? What would you do if you were designing Spain's fighter future? Like, subscribe, and stick around for more deep dives into defense projects that soar, crash, or do both at the same time.